Breaking tonight, just weeks after the administration pressed America's insurance companies to step in and reinstate millions of canceled plans, Fox News has confirmed that one of the country's biggest carriers is saying, sorry, there is no way we can do that. Welcome again to the Kelly File, everyone. I'm Megyn Kelly, and the threat of a looming coverage crisis got much closer for thousands of Americans tonight. Since the launch of Obamacare, nearly 6 million Americans and maybe more have seen their health insurance coverage canceled, despite the president's repeated promises that they could keep it. Then, just about a month ago, under increasing public anger and political outrage, the White House suggested a fix. The president stepped to the microphones and asked insurers to reissue the plans that were canceled thanks to his law.
The bottom line is insurers can extend current plans that would otherwise be canceled into 2014, and Americans whose plans have been canceled can choose to re-enroll in the same kind of plan.
But it was discretionary. And now Aetna, one of the country's largest insurers with more than 50 million customers, is rejecting the president's fix. Mark Thiessen is a fellow at the American Enterprise Institute and a former speechwriter for President George W. Bush, also a columnist at the Washington Post. Mark, good to see you. And so now we have, this is the largest insurance carrier to go on record as saying no directly to the president, the third largest in the country, to say your fix will not work for us. And so it really puts sort of an empty promise into the president's words we just listened to.
Yep, another broken promise. I mean, look, this just shows how powerless this administration is to fix the train wreck that they set in motion. A little over a month ago, the president went out there and said, I've got a fix for all these people losing their health care. We're going to let the states and the insurance companies continuing offering the canceled plans. And so that gave a lot of hope to those 6 million people who are losing their plans. Then all of a sudden it turns out half the states have rejected it. The insurance commissioners have to approve it. And now you've got a major carrier like Aetna and other smaller insurers that are saying, no, we're not going to do this. So the president's fix is no fix. He didn't have the power to enforce it. And so this is what they're doing. They just did it again on Friday. They announced another fix that they can't enforce. Because as you've pointed out many times on this show, unless you pay, you don't have insurance, right?
Right.
And so on December 31st, they've extended the deadline to then. A lot of people they know are not going to have paid up and are not going to have care. So what they've done is Kathleen Sebelius went out and said, we're urging insurers to let them pay after December 31st. We're urging them to accept partial down payments of their first month's premium. We're urging insurers to let them keep their doctor even if they're not in their plan. They have no authority to enforce any of this. So people are going to lose their doctors, lose their plans, lose their insurance, and they can do nothing about it.
Right. And so when we get to January 1st of 2014, Mark, we're now looking at a situation where, because this whole fix, I mean, the president's critics said it was political, you know, that he knew that this was an empty promise, but he was just trying to say, hey, look, I tried to keep my promise. But when we get to that date, we are actually going to have millions of Americans potentially who are now not covered, who were covered prior to Obamacare.
Absolutely. I mean, look, these are the numbers. They have signed up 365,000 people on the exchange websites, the federal and state exchange websites. Let's give them another 800,000 people or so that they've gotten into Medicare. So 1.2 million roughly people. Medicaid. 1.2 million people that they've signed up. Never mind that 25% of those, as many as 25% of those, didn't actually get their forms sent to the insurers. And never mind that they haven't paid yet. Let's give them credit for 1.2. As you just showed on the screen, 5.9 million people have lost their plans. So they've got a gap of about 4.2 million that are not covered. What are they going to do for those people on January 1? Even if let's say half of those people find coverage somewhere in the private market, you've still got millions of people who have lost their insurance, who are insured today, are going to be insured on December 31st, and are going to be uninsured on January 1 because of Obamacare. And
the president's, a solution to that was that fix that we ran the soundbite of, and now you've got, a company as large as Aetna saying, nothing doing, Mr. President, we're not in on it. And so if you've got Aetna and we're fearing a cancellation notice, it may still come, or if you already got one and thought that it was going to be reversed, Aetna now saying it's not going to be. And so the deadline is looming. Mark, thank you.
Thanks, Megyn.